Okay.
Yeah. So component is represented by a dedicated class, but not the component. Component set. From a framework perspective, yes, the component set is a standard class that is provided by the SAP for the framework, and yeah, it will contain a group of components. Component set contains group of components in it. That's what we discussed. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So just to visualize more, I have thought to just give like how the complete framework works behind a UI. So everything is finally is the result oriented, where we have to show everything on a page. So just I have opened GUI, Web UI page, where just we will try to search a account. So just I am into the account management and account, and I am searching with a criteria called name1, last name contains A, and city, let me take contains Somerset. Is Somerset city is part of US, and UK is also having a city named Somerset.
Right.
Somerset County Council. Yes. I got a lot of values for A, so that for A. So what happened? Just now I got few results. Maybe it is taking some blanks. Yeah. So what we have done here, we try to search the name1, last name, account details that contains A alphabet with it. So as per that we got the complete result. So here how the web UI complete framework behaved. So let us take this example and we will move it up. So there is a search criteria where I have tried to search with the name A, and I got a search result. This is a result of our BSP presentation layer and business layer and a business engine. Yeah. Another slide that so we will come from here. Yeah, the second page. What happens when I clicked on search? When I clicked on search means I have done a action. Like clicking a button is an action performed by the end user, Devinder. So what happened? An event has been happened. What event? Search button has been clicked. Okay, there is an action performed by the user Devinder, that he has clicked the search button. After that, what happened? An event has been raised because a search button has been clicked. So based on that, the request will be passed to the controller that search button has been clicked and he is trying to get a data of accounts. Naming starts with A. Name contains A. So request will come to the controller and controller will instantiate the respective model. This would be pretty clear to us. Then what happens at the next step? So model will interact with the core. Initially core does not exist. So whenever model will try to interact with the bool layer, the framework, WebUI framework will recognize that and will instantiate the core object. So who would be instantiating the bool core object? WebUI framework will be instantiating the core object. Now the core object has been instantiated and it identifies what type of request it got. So it was a query service because we are searching for something. So the data, a query service will be instantiated. In that, the respective content like name starts with A, and this is for some XXX account details. So we need to fetch that. So now this core object will interact with the Genie layer. This core object will interact with the Genie layer and it intimates to the Genie layer that boss, I would like to get a data for a query service. Name starts with A for account details. And similarly, and at the same time, it passes which component set is responsible for that. So from a model developer, he has to know which component set for that business should be instantiated. Note, so a model developer has just to know which component set he needs to instantiate for that respective business. Okay.
So Devendra, in this case, the component set for this example, is that the business partner component set?
Yeah, absolutely, you are right. Assumption is right. Yes, that yeah, we can see in a workbench like what component set for this respective component is. That I can show you right now. Okay, just a minute. So just I need to open the SAP GUI for that. Yeah, there is a doubt, something like, yes, like which component set is responsible for that. You can see my SAP screen, right? Easy access screen.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's come up.
Okay. So the first question is, okay, this is so and so the screen, but from a developer perspective, we need to know which component set is responsible for fetching the data. Okay, this is the screen. What, as a developer, what we have to do, just we need to press F2. If we remember in session 2, I have shown you like what are all the technical details available in a SAP WebUI. So when you press F2 button, you would be getting the UI component name. With this name, we would be getting the component set name. So BP head search. Just so I am entering into the workbench for WebUI, that is BSP WD CMP WP. Just let me open a notepad. And so it's a BSP. Are you able to view my notepad?
No, I can't view it.
Say GoToMeeting is showing this application.
Yeah, now I can.
Yeah.
BSP underscore WD.
WDCMP work. WP. See, the full form, the transaction of CRMs are also built very beautifully. See, BSP, business server pages. Yes, presentation layer is a business server page. That's why we have used BSP underscore WD. We are using WebDintro concepts. That's why it's a WD underscore CMP stands for component. So the complete application is a component driven application, and we would be discussing what is a component, what are all the usages of a component. Similar like how we discussed about MVC, we would be discussing in depth what is component driven applications, and what are all the model driven applications. Component, and WB stands for workbench. So BSP WebDintro component workbench is a transaction that we would be using to view the UI component. Just let me. So I am entering into that. Oh, sorry, it's not BSPWD. Here UI component that we need to provide the name that we got at F2 level. So that is BP head search. So BP head search is a UI component responsible for account management search. So just I am trying to display it. So actually this is the place where a web UI developer would be working. So he would be creating the components, custom controllers, views, and blah 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 stuff. So we would be discussing what is a component structure browser, and what is bool model browser and runtime repository. But as for now, we would be looking into the what model this respective component set it has used. The component set is BP underscore APPL. Rishi, you can see this, right? See this screen.
Yes, that helps. Thanks. So, Devinder, the transaction code that you just told us about, right? Are we? I mean, with experience, I assume we will remember. But if I don't remember it, how is there another way, or just Google it or something, or what? Or is there a menu path from the main login page that we can use to come here?
As per my knowledge, from Sprue we cannot get it. I never done that, but I have to look into that way. Just I used to remember that. Otherwise, yeah,
Okay.
Googling it, yeah, we will be able to get it.
All right. No, we'll remember. I mean, I'll start attempting to remember. But initially, these things are hard to remember.
Yeah. But it's a good. Yeah, let me try. I don't think it's available in Sprue. Yeah, I will check it and will let you know. Yeah.
That's okay. Let's carry on.
Yeah. So now this is BP underscore APPL is a component set, not a component. That we need to remember. Okay. So if we want to go like, okay, this is a BP underscore APPL. Just I mean, anyhow we would be working with the component set and component creations in a later session, but to get a complete picture, like, yeah, this is a search page where it is from which we got a search result, so which component set is responsible. So just remember BP underscore APPL is a component set responsible. Okay, so let us see what are all the components resided in BP underscore APPL. For that, to view components and component sets, we need to go to the, there is a shortcut transaction that we would be discussing later, but initially we should go in Paths Pro, IMG, then customer relationship management, then CRM cross application components, generic interaction layer or object, basic settings.
Sorry, Devinder, the
Yes,
screen
please.
is a little slow, so if you can just wait there before you go in, that will help. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Just
Okay, carry on. Thanks.
Yeah, just I'm coming back. Like I went to the SPRO, IMG, CRM,
Yeah.
then CRM cross application components, then generic interaction layer, then basic settings.
Okay.
Yeah, it asks for table is cross client because whatever the changes we make, that is cross client application. Right. Now here you see the component definition. Okay. Here in a dialog structure we have component definition, component set definition, and component assignments. Just visualize, here we would be creating components, and here we would be, not creating, better to say we would be defining a component, and here we would be defining a component set, and underneath that, for a respective component set we would be assigning the components. I'm coming again. We would be defining a component, then step 2 is we would be defining a component set, then we would be assigning a component to the component set. Anyhow, when we create a custom component and custom component set, we would be going through every step of this, but as of now, we have a BP underscore APPL is a component set. Sorry, it's a component name it is asked because I haven't selected component set. Double click. Just I am trying to get BP underscore APPL. So this is a component set that is meant for the account management. Just I have selected a component set, and I would like to see what are all the components assigned to it. So just I have selected a component set and clicked component assignments. So there are 3 components that have assigned to these components. ACP, account planning, BP, yes, as you told Rishi, yes, BP is a component embedded in a component set, and the result is just because BP component. And another one is BP overall is budget posting rules. So from here you might have got a little bit idea. Yes, there's a component set, and for that component set, group of components has been assigned. So this is how we will how the component and component set has been built. Okay, Rishi, are you clear with that?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah,
Clear.
yeah. So we would not be dealing on much more details as of now, but when we try to create, just a minute, what's this is where I got. Yeah, now we try to search for this, and based on the same example we would like to discuss on how, based on the same example, we try to visualize how the data flows. Here we are at the core will interact with the Genie layer, saying that I would like to get a query service. Just let me put it like this. Okay, so core will try to interact with the interfaces. These interfaces contains search, modify, save, create and model, different methods. And yeah, interface is built for to set rules for its underneath layers. What rules it is providing is, okay, if a request is coming for the search, yes, the underneath layer has to implement the search, means it has to provide a complete logic for the search. If it is asking for the modification, yes, the underneath layer should provide a complete implementation for the modification. So that's the role of the interfaces. So here, yes, BP is a component that is responsible for getting the result of that search criteria. So it went to the interface, and for this respective scenario, the search method has to be implemented, and this search method is implemented by within the component set BP underscore APPL. BP underscore APPL will get to know that yes boss, this is the data of BP component. So that respective BP will be instantiated, because BP is nothing but it's a dedicated class. As I told you, Genil component is represented by a dedicated ABAP class. So there is a ABAP class which is attached to the BP at the components definition. So that respective ABAP class will be instantiated. In that dedicated class we would be writing code for search. Okay, this is the accepted request from the upper layer. Now for this search, which API I need to call? So from a developer perspective, we need to know what API, BAPI, RFC or web service we need to call. So that dedicated class is responsible for instantiating APIs, and that API is responsible for fetching the data from the underneath layer tables, and it responds back to the component that is nothing but our dedicated class, and it responds to the upper layer. It intimates to the interfaces. Through interfaces it will be communicated to the core. So the resulted object will be communicated to the core. But here the beauty lies is object model. Are you both are with me, or are you on the same page? Is something has been bounced?
I think I'm doing okay.
Right. Yeah, it's okay to me also. Yeah.
Right. See, as I told you, BP, a component, interacted with the API, got the data, and it intimated to the interface, and core got communication about that. Core got communication about, yeah, the search criteria that you, whatever you have done, yeah, I'm fine with it, and I have provided you the result. But where the result is, means it's a data. The data is embedded in the object model. So that respective data at that runtime, the object model is responsible to frame the data and keep it at it. So now core will instantiate an entity. So when we go in deeper, just if we understand these concepts, yeah, we will be enjoying while writing the coding, because yeah, we have the concept what we exactly what is running at the underneath layers, and I mean Jenny layer. Okay, now core, yes, it got a flag that yes, there is something, yeah, the search result got obtained. So it will instantiate entity. Entity is responsible for the data. So this entity will try to get data from an object model. That's why here, see, in this picture, object model is mapped to both layers, bool layer and Genil layer. So what Genil is doing, it is throwing the data to the object model, and it is intimating to the core that yes boss, yes, I have finished the work that you have you asked. Then core, what it has done, with the help of entity, it will get a data from an object model where already the data is embedded, and after that core will again intimate to the model the upper neat one. So there is a concept called context mapping. So with the context mapping, the model will interact with the entities directly through the through the core object. Model will interact with the entities, and it will fetch the data whenever view will request for the data. Yes, it provides. So for me here, the beauty lies at the object model. So it got the data, and for bool, when it requires, yes, it goes to the object model and it fetches the data. So that's how beautifully this bool and Genil framework has been built. Let me know if for me it looks so beautiful. Because whenever I get a new things about the Genil or bool, I feel what a developer who has developed it. Yeah, salam to them. Yeah, so that's why we need to look into the object model. What object model contains? A group of objects with a relations. So to fetch a data, yeah, it would be traversing in a hierarchical way. So that's how. Yeah, this is just a pictorial representation, like object are communicating with each other with a relation. As I told you, yes, object model defines hierarchy of objects. We refer these objects as business objects. Since it contains the business data, yes, this is called as a business object. And object model contains, Genil object model contains Genil objects and relationship. And Genil object types are root objects, access objects, dependent object, search objects, dynamic search object, search result object, and there are two other objects like abstract object and view object. So I never used them, so I haven't specified specially in that. But here, yeah, we can discuss about a Genil object model. See, we know the purpose, like the data, yes, at runtime, it should be stored somewhere. So that data has been formatted and it has been embedded in a object model. So here, the objects like root object, access object, query object, dynamic query object, query result object, dependent object, abstract object has their own rules, set of rules. So based on the rules, developer has to know, and developer has to embed the data based on the business requirement and based on the business requirement. Let us see what are all the Genil objects and their role. The primary one that we need to discuss is the root objects. The first rule is, for a component, there is always at least one root object node in a component. If we have created a component, then it should have at least one root object. Yeah, there may be a couple of root objects as well. And root, as the name specifies, it's a root object. Whenever you need some data, you need to traverse through the root object. There is no other entry point. So the entry point to access the data is a root object, and it is also meant for creating a data, reading a data, and updating the data. So all the CRUD applications you can perform through the root object. Then there is access object. The name specifies, yes, you can access the object. And access object is also as a root object, but the rule is you cannot edit this object. So access object is only meant for reading purpose. So if you want to read the data, you can traverse through the access object. The third object is a query object. Yeah. As we discussed, there are two types of queries: static query and dynamic query. Static query is nothing but you need to provide a complete content of that respective search. So you need to provide a complete details, like for a customer ID you need to provide completely. Just now we have seen name one, we have provided contains A. It doesn't work with the query object. And as per the versions, before 5.0 there were not dynamic query objects. So they used to work with the query objects only. Just a miscellaneous note. So prior to the 5.0 there were only query objects. After 5.0, I mean with the 5.0 they came up with the dynamic query objects. The fourth one, dynamic query object. Yeah, as the name specifies, yeah, you can query with the logical operations like greater than, less than, between, as we have seen, contains, starts with. So with the dynamic query, yeah, you can fire a lot of with the logical operations you can query the things. Fine, I have queried, but after that there should be a result of that query. So that is nothing but query result object. So you have queried, the result should be stored somewhere. So that is query result object. dependent object. Dependent object is a one which is dependent on its parent's data. Just like there is a customer ID, and with the customer ID I would like to get a name, first name, last name, father's name, that's enough. But sometimes I would like to go in a deeper. What is the address? What is his fax numbers? In this case, we would be creating two objects. One object with the name, first name, last name, father's name is one object. The another object is the address and the fax number. So that whenever just we are requesting for the first name, last name and the father's name, just we would be accessing one object. Let us say that is a root object. But whenever we need some underneath details, then we would be creating a dependent object with the address and fax. So this is the dependent object address is dependent on a root object like customer details, because if we want to fetch the address, we need to know to whom, to which customer I need to provide the address. So in these type of scenarios, we would be using dependent objects. Abstract objects, I don't have much idea on that, but as the name specifies, so the object which if we want to use that, we need to inherit that and we have to use that. So, that's what I know about the abstract object. In a real time I never used this abstract object. So if you have any idea with the name, yes, you can tell me. Okay, so there are different Geneel objects. The Geneel object types are root objects, access object, query objects, dynamic query objects, query result object, and dependent objects, abstract objects. We have seen, yes, as we see in the picture, like Geneel object model, there are the object, different objects, and there was a relationship between with the arrow. So we have seen different types of objects. Now what type of relation it will have? Note, to create any relationship, it should have a unique relationship. The relationship between two objects should be unique. One. And as the relationship says, it's a parent versus child relationship. And it is unidirectional, not a bidirectional. Just to visualize in a real time, there is a father and a son. The relationship, if we see from a father, he is the son, and if we see from a son, yeah, he is a father. So relationship types, relationship name differs when we see from a different objects views. If we have two objects, if we are viewing from a root object to the another object, the relationship will be different. So the relationship is always unidirectional, not bidirectional. Okay, what type of relationships two objects has? So this relationship actually is related with the object-oriented programming as well. The relationship types are association, aggregation, and composition. As I told, then what is the association? Association is more like a friendly kind of relationship who are into the same levels, just like the association between two universities. So they both are the universities, so they may have the association between them, association between two CRM technical developers. Yes. So always regarding our Geneel object model, the association will be in between root object to root object or to root object with the access object. As I told you, levels should be the same because the root object, access object, both are meant to access the objects. The other relationship is aggregation. Aggregation is used for parent and child relationship as root object to dependent object. I have written not compulsion. So for example, let's take the same example, customer details and address details. So here in my case, yes, I would be, sometimes I would be going with the address details, sometimes not. So it's not mandatory that I should get customer details with the address. That case will be the aggregation. For example, let us take mobiles. In our mobile, we may use headset to listen music, or directly we can listen music. So the relationship between a mobile and headset is aggregation. So there is nothing mandatory that for a respective task you have to use the headset. Okay, that in those type of relations we would be using aggregation. Next one is composition. The name just says composed. So the composition between root object and child object, I have written compulsion, just because the child has to exist with the parent. So there is a statement, the relationship is between parent and child. So if child exists, then parent exists. If child doesn't exist, parent will not exist. Similar, again, let us take the two examples. Now customer ID, with customer ID I always need a customer name. For example, if customer ID resided in one object and customer name is resided in another object, then always the relationship between them should be composition when we have a business requirement, like customer ID should be with the name. Another real-time example, like for a mobile, if it has to run, should have a battery. Battery is a different object, and mobile, let us take the other accessories or different object. So, to run a mobile, battery has to run, battery has to be charged, otherwise no. So that type of relation will become a composition. So should composed, if child doesn't exist, parent should not exist. That type of relation is composition. Okay, now object model contains object types and relations. Relations are association, aggregation, and composition. I hope you are pretty clear with the relationships as well. Let us go to the any questions?
No questions, thanks.
Genel component set. Yes, simply genel component set contains set of genel components. All components in the component set are handled by the framework in a same way as each component communicates with the framework via the same method. See, as I told you, there is a vision of, from a developer perspective, different vision from a framework perspective, it is different. That's why there are a lot of things which are handled by the framework. Here it says the communication between the components with the component set is handled by the framework. Okay, so component contains group of components. The communication between the component set and the components is handled by the framework. Just an overview, just that we have discussed as of now, and what happens at the runtime. So when we try to execute, when we try to search something, what happens? So business server page is responsible for view. Yeah. So the immediately the request come to the controller. Controller has a model. That model has a context. We will discuss like what is the context and how it is mapped. So model will call a core object. Will call a core object. Will not instantiate the core object, because core object is instantiated by the framework, not by the model. So we'll call a model. Model will call a core. Core checks whether the requested data is infer. If not, then it asks the Genil layer, please, I need so and so data, and please process it and get the data. Then Genil interfaces will interact with the component set. Component set has components, and component contains group of components with the relationship, and it has a dedicated class. That blah blah dedicated class is responsible to call the API and get the data and throw it to the runtime objects. Sorry, these Genil objects, Genil model objects. Then it intimates to the bowl, and bowl will create an entity and will refer to these objects, and these entities is mapped to the model. Since it is mapped, yeah, model will also get the data. When view request, yes, when view request for the data, yeah, it will respond to that, and that will be sent as a response to the browser. And that's how the runtime behaves. Yeah, questions please.
So Devinder, if you go back to the earlier slide.
Yes.
So I'm trying to relate it to my experience in some other systems.
Yes, please.
Okay, so the business logic layer, which is at the bottom, if I wanted to set up some interfaces with CRM, then those interfaces, probably a web service or whatever, is that going to be at the business logic layer, and then we'll connect directly to the business logic layer interface, meaning a data interface, not a user interface. And is it that the bowl and the Genil layer is only used by the web client?
Yeah. For our web client, presentation layer and bowl is responsible. I mean, whenever we use UI, we need to use bowl. But you can directly, you can use your Genil in your some XXX programs of the CRM.
I see. So when I access CRM with SAP GUI, okay, not web client, but not the web UI, but SAP GUI, then which layers are in play? Is it only the Genil and the business logic layer?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's what the Genil says. Yes, you can use me in a web UI, and you can use me in some function modules as well.
I see.
Yeah.
In this also, there is a small in the picture, there is a small R and an
Runtime.
arrow. What is that R? Oh,
Runtime. Runtime. Yeah. And see, if you can see, that's what the flavor of what I say. there is a picture. Just remember this. See the picture. Sorry. This is another picture, right?
Yeah.
See, that's what how you look into the framework. Like one of my boss used to say, if you would like to see a framework, you have to see from a different side. You have to see from the tops, from the bottom, from this side, from that side. Then you will get a complete vision of that restive architecture. So it's different when you see from the side. It's different when you see from the other side.
Okay.
But when yeah Rishi or Vinay?
I think that was
And this is Vinay. So for desktop applications like normal module pool kind of applications in CRM, so can we skip this bowl part, business object layer one?
Yeah. Yes,
like that?
absolutely. Yeah, bowl is actually meant for the web UI.
Fine, but bool is I mean, with the help of bool, we are passing this. We are calling core, right? Which is actually instantiating something, right? Framework is taking that and it's creating one object, and through this object only, Janil is getting some data, right? So for normal applications like directly through SAP GUI, I believe we need the object, right, core object or something, but how that we will take care of it, that object one.
Yeah. Actually, bowl core is a main key player of the bowl layer, and that is instantiated by the web UI component. So that's a property of the web UI, not for others.
Okay.
So if you want to explicitly, yes, there are few reporting programs that has been developed, ALV programs using bool as well, but the best practice says if you want to use the business of CRM, so what we call the business of CRM, right? So business data, and we want to use that somewhere, you just get the Janil. Janil is not a property of web UI. It's a universal property of the CRM. You will be facing problem to instantiate the bowl core, because that is taken care by the web UI framework. So the complete framework comes when you have a UI component. Now, am I clear, or let me come with some other example?
Actually, let me frame my question. I would like to know, in case of normal SAP GUI applications, are we going to create the object, or we will take care of instantiating the object, in short? So
yeah, that's why we will not be using the bowl at that time. We would be just trying to, since Janil component is having a dedicated class, so we would be trying to instantiate that, and that dedicated class is responsible to call the APIs and give you the data in a form of object models. Through the object models, you can get the data and you can paste it to some reporting programs wherever you want. So then,
fine. So just we create the reference and for that particular class, and create the object, then directly access that method, right?
Right. The object already exists in a with you, since that is a general above class. You try to instantiate it and pass the data, get the requested result, and paste it in some internal table or whatever, and throw it out.
Okay, fine. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Devendra, just to reconfirm my understanding, right? The core, what did you call it? The core object, right? The core object is not is not in existence if I were to use only SAP GUI.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
So it's a property of web UI component.
All right.
And explicitly as a developer, we are not going to instantiate that. So framework identifies, yes, this is a requirement. Now I have to create the core, then it will create a core component.
And yeah, I think yesterday you were also saying that there is only one core object per session.
Per session, per one user. I mean, when we,
So when I log in, it automatically, the framework will create a core object for that login. That
Yep.
session.
Yep.
Achha. Okay.
So yeah, when the first, whatever the first UI component is called, at that time framework will create a core object, and yeah, it will have the reference with it. And whenever the core object is needed, again the same reference will go to that another component. If you are trying to access some 10 components, the same reference, the core reference will go to the different components. That's why
Okay.
there was a statement, uniform interface programming. So for 10 components, we are using the same Bol core object. But underneath Genil, yes, it depends on the depends on the UI component. In a UI component, we have mapped with the component set. So that's the another flavor of Bol, that it's a uniform. I mean,
Yeah.
with all the
Got
components.
it. Okay.
And thank you very much. You are into this. I from your questions, I got to know that yep, you are enjoying the session, especially this one. Yeah, and yeah, for me, it's sometimes it becomes a difficult part because of maybe the underneath skills that people has. Yeah, this is a happy moment for me, because you two, I think you two got it.